In local sports, the 6th-ranked Port Angeles Rough Rider boys soccer team, now 5-1 in league and 7-1 overall, beat Kingston last night 5-1 on the road. Matthew Miller and Tanner LaGrange each scored twice, while Roldan Lara added his first goal of the season. Canyon Anderson had a big night too with 3 assists. The Riders will host Kingston in a rematch on Saturday. In golf, Port Angeles took on state powerhouse Bainbridge. Despite strong performances, both teams came up short for the Riders. The girls lost a heartbreaker by just 3 strokes, 233 to 230, while the boys fell 156 to 144. For the girls, Layla Porter led the way with a 54. Izzy Spencer shot a 57. Lainey Rudd had a 59. Helen Fishman a 63. Rainey Charlo finished with a 64. And Maya Callis shot a 66. On the boys' side, Cale Wentz paced the Riders with a 36. Colby Charles shot a 38. Sky Gelder a 40. And Noah Myers a 41. Max Gagnon finished with a 46. And Tristan Grantham shot a 59. Golfers back in action today at Olympic, a 3 p.m. tee time. And in some signing news, Port Angeles senior Piper Alton, known for both soccer and race car driving, has signed a letter of intent to play flag football at Westminster College in Fulton, Missouri. The private liberal arts school, known for its academics, and has hosted notable speakers, including Winston Churchill and Margaret Thatcher in the past. Well, the San Diego Padres stayed hot last night. They beat our Seattle Mariners 4-1 for their 6th straight win, the 9th in their last 10 games.
And the 1-0 pitch, swinging a soft looper into shallow right field. That's going to drop in for a base hit. Here comes Merrill on to score, and the Padres now lead it 4-1.
Xander Bogaerts led the way with 3 hits, 3 RBIs, helping power that Padres offense. The victory gives San Diego an early edge in the Vedder Cup, a rivalry series named for Eddie Vedder, who has ties to both Seattle and San Diego. Mariners won last year's series and the trophy. Mariners and San Diego again this evening, 5:30 airtime here on KONP, brought to you by Leeds Farm Supply and Equipment Sales.
This is Ed from Leeds Farm Supply and Equipment Sales. Our family has trucked hay to feed the hungry animals in Western Washington for 4 generations. In that time, we have built a growing legacy of serving the needs of our customers, and we've never stopped. In 2014, we ventured into the equipment world by becoming a dealer and service provider for Mahindra tractors. Since then, we have partnered with quality brands such as Bad Boy, Aaron's Gravely, LS Tractor, Husqvarna, Snake River Trailers, and now Wacker Neuson Construction Equipment. We have a 3-bay shop where we not only service the brands we sell, but we also work on most major brands including Kubota, John Deere, and New Holland. We carry a wide variety of parts, filters, belts, and fluids. We have a fully stocked hydraulic shop and can build hoses for most machines while you wait. Chainsaw or weed eater need some TLC, we work on small engines too. We even offer welding and fabrication services. We have been earning the Peninsula's trust for over 25 years with your animal's care. We look forward to earning your trust with your equipment's care too.
News Radio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Stocks have been fluctuating. The S&P is flirting with an all-time closing high. Tech shares are gaining as well. In tech, an early investment in SpaceX, positioning Alphabet for a nice big fat windfall with Alphabet's Google owning a stake in Elon Musk's company and set to make a lot of money if it hits an initial public offering. In the alcoholic drinks business, Wall Street Journal says Sazerac has offered to buy Jack Daniel's maker Brown-Forman for around $15 billion. Brown-Forman's also been in deal talks with another competitor, the French spirits maker Pernod Ricard. And you know how there was so much antitrust concern triggered when sources told Bloomberg Chicago-based United Airlines CEO was shopping around the idea of merging with American Airlines and talking to people in Washington about it? Well, a White House spokesperson today commented on the story, not really indicating any antitrust concern. The spokesperson saying a United American merger is nothing they have a position on and no opinion at this time. Denise Pellegrini, Bloomberg Radio.
Your birth experience should feel like yours. Come meet the midwives who can make that happen. Meet Our Midwives is a free monthly open house at Olympic Medical Center where you can get to know our certified nurse midwives, tour our birth center, and start planning the birth that feels right for you. Join us the first Tuesday of every month at 5:30 p.m. in the Olympic Memorial Hospital Sunroom. Learn more at olympicmedical.org/meetourmidwives.
Buying locally doesn't always mean paying more. At McCrory Carpet One, they're a part of a cooperative that bands together over 1,000 family businesses just like them to form the largest floor buying group in America. Together, they buy over $7 billion in flooring. That means not only do you get the best prices and quality installation, but you help support local jobs and families. McCrory Carpet One has been proudly serving our community for over 60 years. Always priced right, always done right. McCrory Carpet One.
KONP News Times 1223. One of the largest hack attacks in U.S. history was not carried out by a Russian crime syndicate or a team of professional scammers in South Asia. It was the work of a teenager toiling over a computer in his bedroom in Sterling, Massachusetts. Here's ABC's Jim Ryan.
In secretive online forums, hackers show off their money and jewelry.
You see this luxurious lifestyle, and you're like, as a young kid, I want that.
Matthew Lane, who's now 20, used skills he taught himself to hack into an education software company and demand a ransom in 2024.
I'm so thankful I got caught. I really am, because I would have never stopped.
He's been sentenced to 4 years in prison in order to pay over $14 million restitution. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
And in other tech news...
From ABC News Tech Trends, after OpenAI CEO Sam Altman's home in San Francisco was the target of 2 separate violent attacks in recent days, former FBI Special Agent Brad Garrett says the tech leader is likely making some changes.
He will enhance, I believe, his security. It's called target hardening in that world, where you basically create an even more defensible place than it was previously.
No one was hurt in either incident, but in at least one case where a man allegedly threw a Molotov cocktail at Altman's home, the attack appeared to have been motivated by anti-AI sentiment. Garrett says it comes against the backdrop of a growing anxiety around the technology among the general population.
Other people, well-known people, CEOs, etc., that could also be targets of people that have maybe a similar bent about the apocalyptic aspects of AI.
With Tech Trends, I'm Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Opening up about her personal health struggles, a reality TV star is now helping raise awareness about the second leading cause of death in the United States. ABC's Hannah Butta has more from New York.
Dr. Sandra Lee, the star of the hit reality series Dr. Pimple Popper.
This is a cyst. It definitely is a cyst. I try not to squeeze it too much.
Now revealing she suffered a stroke last fall while filming her show. Lee tells People magazine, I had what I thought was a hot flash. I got super sweaty and I didn't feel like myself. She says shortly after symptoms appeared, she knew something was wrong with her left side. I would hold my hand out and it would just slowly collapse. I noticed that I had a tough time articulating and just enunciating.
There have been reports of significant increases in strokes among middle-aged Americans in recent years.
According to the American Heart Association, more than 1 million Americans are admitted to the hospital every year for pulmonary edema, and 15% of hospitalizations lead to death. Pulmonary edema is a life-threatening condition where fluid builds up in the lungs, making it difficult to breathe and for oxygen to get into the blood. Some patients with pulmonary edema may need a breathing machine or a breathing tube as treatment. Heart disease, high blood pressure, and certain drugs puts you at risk. Drowning and traveling to high altitudes can also lead to pulmonary edema. You can feel things like shortness of breath that is worse when lying down, heart racing, wheezing, and frothy phlegm. If you experience any of these symptoms suddenly, call 911. You have more control than you think. Lifestyle changes can prevent pulmonary edema. Limiting salt intake, exercising, cutting back on alcohol, and quitting smoking are all things you can do now to reduce your risk. With this Medical Minute, I'm Dave Packer.
A better life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
We've had some unbelievably cold temperatures this winter, and while things are finally starting to warm up in most places, it's still pretty chilly in others. That means you need to take some precautions if you're spending significant amount of time outside. One emergency room doctor we spoke to said the most common mistake people make is underestimating risk. People may assume that they know how to handle cold weather and then go outside without proper clothing or stay out longer than they had originally planned. They may ignore early warning signs from their body. So take the time to check the forecast, dress accordingly, and do listen to your body if something doesn't feel right. Cold weather, for example, can cause your blood pressure to rise. It can irritate your airways. can even throw off your dexterity and balance, just like you would if you were driving. So you got to be careful, plan ahead, go slow. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Maybe you haven't heard about us. We're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless has you paying for more data than you might need. Why? They might want you to cover the costs of younger people who do use all that data. If you're not using the data, you're probably being used. We've heard time and time again that some Big Wireless customers get stuck paying hundreds and even thousands more for years and years because they think it's hard to switch. Not with us. It takes just about 20 minutes and you can change your plan anytime without extra charges. We use the same towers as the big guys, so you'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the Big Wireless bill.
Our plans start at just $20 a month, and for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Hello, I'm Jerry Stewart, and this is One Moment in America. Here's a trivia question for you. Which U.S. president is the only to survive being shot while in office? I'll give you the answer after this important message.
Hello, I'm Jerry Stewart with the word from Liberty Village. Take a moment here and look. Really look at our America today. And as you do, see the quiet strength of millions who love this nation and strive to keep her strong. Our national motto reminds us, "In God we trust." Those words have carried Americans through uncertainty, sacrifice, and triumph. But throughout our history, trust has always been joined with action, with citizens who stepped forward, fulfilled their duty, and did their part. As we study how our nation came to be, we see that freedom endured because ordinary people chose to live extraordinary values. If we are to preserve that freedom, we must understand it, we must teach it, we must live it. At Liberty Village, we invite you to rediscover those founding values through our free monthly Founding Values lessons designed to inspire meaningful conversation in our home. Go to libertyvillage.org/education and register for free today.
On March the 30th, 1981, as President Reagan was leaving the Washington Hilton Hotel, he was shot by John Hinckley Jr. The assassin's bullet actually missed him, hit the presidential limo, ricocheted off, and pierced Reagan's side, finally stopping just next to his heart. The American people would not learn the truth until years later that he almost died. But Ronald Reagan, with his wonderful spirit, continued to crack jokes even on the way to the operating room, and he survived. Reagan's final words on the matter? He said, "Whatever happens now, I owe my life to God and will try to serve him in every way I can." Mr. Reagan, we miss you. We need you. I'm Jerry Stewart, and that was One Moment in America.
Welcome to Volunteer Spotlight, sponsored by Jim Hagwood, Port Angeles Realty. This is Alan Barnard, and this Volunteer Spotlight shines on the Port Angeles Senior Center, a warm and welcoming space where seniors can feel safe, supported, and part of a vibrant community. Programs tailored to seniors offer opportunities for socializing, learning, and staying active. The dedicated volunteers create a positive environment, assistance, and companionship, plus fitness classes, art workshops, educational sessions, and a place just to meet friends. The Port Angeles Senior Center is a place where seniors truly thrive. It's more than a center, it's a caring community. Come check it out yourself, located at 7th and Peabody, and apply to be a volunteer yourself. It's said that service is the rent we pay for our space on Earth. That's why we present this Volunteer Spotlight, sponsored by Jim Hagwood, Port Angeles Realty.
This afternoon on the Todd Ortloff Show, we'll talk with Peninsula College President Susie Ames, plus Ray Deptula on his new book and the American Revolution. And Amanda Bacon joins us with her latest Bacon Bit. It's all happening Wednesday afternoon here.
Join us at 1 o'clock Monday through Thursday for the Todd Ortloff Show on KONP. Information to keep you engaged in your community with the people and organizations who keep it running. Sponsored by Dan Shappy, Farmers Insurance.
This is what it sounded like trying to pick up chicks in your 20s.
Hey baby, want a trip to Light Fantastic?
This is how it sounds picking up chicks over 40.
Can I get 4 of the little blonde ones over there?
Get the supplies you need to keep your chicks healthy and happy at the Co-op Farm and Garden in Squim. From feed to housing and everything in between, the Co-op will keep your chicks happy for cheap. Shop the Co-op Farm and Garden in Squim.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Pakistan's army chief has arrived for talks in Tehran in the latest diplomatic move to ease tensions in the region and arrange a second round of negotiations between the U.S. and the Islamic Republic. The U.S. Navy is imposing a sea blockade against Iran, the latest escalation in the war that's seen the flow of key energy supplies choked off at the Strait of Hormuz. Qatar's foreign ministry spokesman Majed Al-Ansari says it's time for Iran to reopen the strait.
Security of the Strait of Hormuz, the reality of the Strait of Hormuz cannot be harmed by any escalatory moves by any party. This is condemned internationally. And
meanwhile, the U.S. Navy says as for its blockade of Iranian ports, they are working and effectively halted economic trade into and out of Iran by sea. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky is visiting various capital cities trying to secure more military and financial support for the war against Russia.
Volodymyr Zelensky says his country's top priority is securing help to buy and build more air defense systems as Russia continues deadly attacks on civilians and infrastructure.
That is correspondent Charles de la Desma. An unusual April heat wave could set new record highs in the eastern U.S.
A long-lasting weather pattern is blasting hot air across the eastern U.S. and threatening to shatter record highs. Cities like New York, Philadelphia, and Atlanta are experiencing unusual April heat. Forecasters say the near-record temperatures could last into the weekend. The heat follows severe storms in Kansas, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. More storms are in the forecast for the Midwest. Experts note that the duration of this heat wave is rare for April. The heat can be stressful on the human body, especially since many have not yet acclimated to higher temperatures. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
More of these stories at townhall.com.
I talk to a lot of great companies. Very few of them actually literally surprised me, but Fellowship Home Loans sure did. For over 20 years, Mike and Brian and the team there have been helping families do something most people think is more complicated than it has to be. Get into a home, lower their rate, or tap into equity they didn't even realize they had. Everything at Fellowship is done in-house. One roof, one great team, all with a servant-led mentality. From your first phone call to closing, you're going to get people who know you by name. They'll know your situation. They treat you like family. They're also offering a free mortgage checkup right now. Don't miss out. Rates are lower now than if you purchased or refinanced your home in the last few years. Many Fellowship customers are saving hundreds of dollars a month when refinancing, and there are no payments for 2 months. Go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
There's a movement underway to try and get millennials and Gen Zers to disengage from their phones, at least for a while.
Some 20 years after Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone, more and more millennials and Generation Zers are making an effort to put down their cell phones, if just for a short time. Dan Fox, a 38-year-old New Yorker, recently hosted a gathering in his Brooklyn home at which more than a dozen millennials put down their phones and spent 2 hours reading, drawing, or just having conversation. Fox works for a Brooklyn-based company that sells phones with only basic functionality, and he's been part of the movement to rebel against an omnipresent screen since 2015. I'm Donna Warder.
More belt-tightening at the House of Mouse. This round of Walt Disney Company layoffs expected to fall across the California-based company's traditional TV businesses, including ESPN, as well as its movie studio. You'll find breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. Sudan's so-called abandoned crisis grows as the war enters a fourth year.
Famine, massacres, and now badly needed food and other supplies are under strain. Sudan on Wednesday enters a fourth year of war that's being called an abandoned crisis, as a new conflict in the Middle East throws into shadow the fighting that has forced 13 million people to flee their homes. Growing evidence shows regional powers like the United Arab Emirates backing combatants behind the scenes. UN humanitarian Chief Tom Fletcher says this grim and chastening anniversary marks another year when the world has failed to meet the test of Sudan. I'm Charles de la Tasma.
Prince Harry and his wife Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, have arrived in Melbourne for their first Australian visit since their official royal tour back in 2018. You'll find more of these stories at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Bob Agnew.
This is the News Radio KONP Noon Report.
It's Todd Orth live from the KONP News Center. Here's a look at what's happening on this Wednesday, April 15th. A convicted drug dealer headed to prison following multiple arrests here in Clallam County. 37-year-old Sergei Kubai pleaded guilty to possessing a stolen firearm, 2 counts of fentanyl with intent to deliver, and drug-related DUI charges. He was sentenced under the state's drug offender sentencing alternative to a combined prison term of up to 20 months, followed by supervision, with sentences running concurrently. Now, the case stems from a series of arrests last December involving State Patrol and OpNet. Troopers first stopped Kubai and found fentanyl, meth, heroin, and cannabis. Days later, he was arrested again after a crash where a stolen firearm was discovered. He was taken into custody a third time later that month, again for DUI with more fentanyl on him. A follow-up search turned up additional drugs and scales. Kubai is still in custody and does face additional felony charges tied to drug trafficking. A public safety town hall set for tomorrow night in Port Angeles, trying to bring together some of Clallam County's top leaders in law enforcement and government. The forum runs from 6:30 to 8:30. It'll be at the Fairview Grange Hall off Lake Farm Road. On the panel, County Commissioner Mike French, Prosecutor Mark Nichols, Sheriff Brian King, and Port Angeles Police Chief Brian Smith. They'll all take questions directly from the public. Each will open with a brief remark before the floor turns to the audience for the Q&A. Organizers say there's no set moderator, and those questions directed to the panel will be as a whole, panelists responding at their discretion. The event part of the People's Forum, a series designed to give residents direct access to decision makers. Organizers say it's an opportunity for the community to be heard and to get some answers from those shaping policy here at home, particularly on law enforcement. Clallam County Commissioners considering a request to help preserve the Big Red Barn Farm in the Esquim-Dungeness Valley, a 135-acre property seen as some of the region's most valuable farmland. The North Olympic Land Trust is asking for up to $1.4 million out of the county's Conservation Futures Fund to secure a permanent conservation easement on that property. That request comes with a recommendation from the county's Conservation Futures Advisory Board, which reviewed the proposal earlier this month. Barbara Pappas chairs that board.
It is all set up for 27 5-acre lots ready for the bulldozer. So there is some urgency for this. The owners approached with the caveat that they wanted it sold by the end of 2025. So we are now they're using what you call the buy, protect, sell model, and we're now in the protect area.
The land sits on an agricultural retention zone. It's made up entirely of prime farmland soils. It's been actively farmed for decades, producing hay, grain, and seed crops, while also supporting cattle grazing. The total project cost is estimated at more than $4.2 million, with about two-thirds already secured through state and other funding sources. North Olympic Land Trust Conservation Director Mike Auger told county commissioners this week the long-term plan is to keep the parcels in agriculture.
For easements on the property, that will pay us back. And the intent is for us to hold these properties probably for about 6 or 7 years. And then as the easements will be on the properties protecting them as farmland, we will then sell those to farmers down the road.
Supporters say the project would preserve not just farmland, but a piece of the region's ag history, including the iconic Big Red Barn, which dates back more than a century. More news after this.
Step right up, Port Angeles, because this Saturday, the Naval Elks Lodge throws open its doors for the anniversary celebration of the year. We're talking a full-blown Roaring 20s takeover, where every hallway hums with mystery, every corner hides a surprise, and the night practically winks at you. Journey through the lodge and uncover hidden secrets as the party unfolds around you, with jaw-dropping acrobats, underground boxing, and live music from Super Nostalgic and Jimmy Hoffman. And yes, the legendary Elks party snacks are locked, loaded, and included with your ticket. No rumbling stomachs in this speakeasy. But listen closely, tickets are disappearing faster than a magician's rabbit, so don't wait. Join us this Saturday and get lost in the lodge.
Get your tickets now. Text TICKETS to 360-461-0426 or find Events at the Elks on Facebook. That's Events at the Elks on Facebook.
and we'll see you when the doors swing open.
Join us for Healthy Kids Day, happening April 18th from 10 to 1 at all Olympic Peninsula YMCA branches. Our free, family-friendly event is packed with fun. Navigate through obstacle courses, camp activities, wellness challenges, live demos, and more. Plus, register for our brand new summer specialty camps. No sign-up needed. Just show up and bring the whole family. Don't miss out on free goodie bags while supplies last. For more details, visit OlympicPeninsulaYMCA.org. See you there.
In other news, a longtime Clallam PUD insider stepping away from elected office. Commissioner John Purvis says he will not seek re-election to the District 2 seat on the PUD board this year, making the announcement during a board meeting this week. Purvis has deep roots with the utility, spending more than 16 years on staff, serving as an assistant general manager before being appointed to the board back in 2023. He also brought decades of experience to the role with a roughly 40-year career in power systems engineering. In a statement, Purvis thanked PUD employees and fellow commissioners, saying that he has the utmost appreciation for their work serving Clallam County. The PUD, in turn, has credited Purvis for his leadership and contributions in maintaining reliable electric and utility services. Purvis's current term expires at the end of this year. A new state audit raising concerns about whether Washington drivers ordered to use ignition interlock devices after DUI convictions are actually complying with that law. The Joint Legislative Audit and Review Committee found big gaps in enforcement, noting the state lacks clear data on how many offenders continue driving without the devices. Compliance rates are estimated at less than 40%. Ignition interlocks, which prevent a car from starting if alcohol is detected, cost about $2,700 a year. About half of those required to install them earn less than $28,000 annually. And while financial aid exists, auditors say it does not reach enough people. The State Department of Licensing and State Patrol oversee the program, but the audit found neither is directly responsible for ensuring any compliance. Lawmakers are now pushing for better coordination and oversight. Officials say impaired driving remains a major safety issue, with about half of fatal crashes involving impaired drivers in our state. And Washington State Ferry summer reservations opened up yesterday, and they will probably go quickly based on demand in previous years. Last year, heavy demand overwhelmed the virtual waiting room as travelers logged on to book trips. The crash has prompted DOT officials to announce plans for a new ticketing and reservation system, but that's not going live till next year. Reservations cover sailings on the Anacortes, San Juan Islands, and Port Townsend Coupeville routes from June 14th through September 19th. Those sailings have limited standby space, so reservations are strongly encouraged. As with other high-demand ticket releases, customers will be placed in a virtual waiting room. The system shows a user's place in line, provides an estimated wait time, and can send a notification when it's their turn to actually book. This is News Radio KONP.
Remember the early days of the internet? Yeah. OliPen was already there, laying the groundwork for what would become everything internet. Today, OliPen is still connecting the Olympic Peninsula to the world. But they're not stopping at blazing fast internet and rock-solid email. They're helping you see what matters most. With advanced security camera systems for your home or business, OliPen puts peace of mind right in your pocket. Check in anytime, anywhere from your smartphone. Across town, across the country, doesn't matter. You're always connected, always protected. With crystal clear HD and stunning 4K cameras and custom systems designed to fit your property perfectly, you'll never miss a moment. And the best part? Local, reliable service from people who live right here in your community. OliPen. Everything internet. Connecting the Olympic Peninsula to the world. Visit olipen.com.
Hi, it's Callie from the Heartline. Thanks to all who've come by the shop and to those who've stopped by our home show booth during our anniversary event. There's still time to take advantage of our anniversary savings. Now through May 2nd, get 50% off medium bark. We love helping you beautify your yard and garden, and during our anniversary, helping you save 50% off as well. But hurry, savings are until May 2nd. Stop by the Heartline, top of the truck route, Port Angeles. 452-3157.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by All Weather Heating and Cooling. Thunderstorms likely this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun. Daytime highs approaching 47. Westerly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Mainly clear skies tonight. Chance of rain. Lows level off around 34. Ample sunshine expected tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 51. Daytime highs approaching 50 Friday under partly cloudy skies. 56 Saturday, chance of rain. Taking a look at the extended forecast, 59 Sunday, 61 Monday, and 61 on Tuesday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 43 degrees.
Mariners this afternoon, 5:30 here on KONP, brought to you by Leeds Farm Supply and Equipment Sales. Now with the rest of the sports, here's Robert Workman.
NBA playoffs underway on Tuesday. In the play-in round, the East 9-10 game, the Hornets shaded the Heat 127-126 in overtime. LaMelo Ball hit the go-ahead layup with 5 seconds left in OT. Then at the other end, Miles Bridges blocked Davion Mitchell's layup try at the buzzer. Out west, the Blazers erased an 11-point fourth-quarter deficit to top the Suns 114-110 in the 7-8 game in Phoenix. Denny Avdia scored 14 of his game-high 41 in the fourth quarter, including the go-ahead three-point play with 16 seconds left. Portland gets the 7th seed and will face the Spurs starting Sunday. 2 more games tonight. Baseball, after Monday's offensive outburst, the highest runs per game total in April ever, the pitchers took control on Tuesday. Twins shut out the Red Sox 6-0. Mick Abel struck out 10 in a combo 6-hitter.
I think adrenaline kind of got there a little bit towards the end. It felt pretty good to be out there in the 6th and 7th and getting deep into the game.
Tigers trimmed the Royals 2-1, holding KC to 4 hits. Kenley Jansen got save number 479 to move past Lee Smith into 3rd all-time. A 4-hitter for Michael King in his court as the Padres sank the Mariners 4-1. A's nipped the Rangers 2-1. Dodgers edged the Mets 2-1, and the Reds shaded the Giants 2-1. That's Wednesday Sports.
Caring for a loved one takes heart and help. Dungeness Court Memory Care is there for you. Our adult day stay program offers a safe, nurturing environment with meals, engaging activities, caregiving support, and on-site nursing care. Day stay is available 7 days a week from 30 minutes to 10 hours with no minimum commitment for only $25 an hour. Care for your loved one. Peace of mind for you. Call 360-582-9309 to schedule a free assessment today.
Looking for affordable home ownership on the peninsula? Mountain View Homes has you covered. Enjoy high-quality craftsmanship at 40% less than traditional homes. You heard me, 40% less. We offer full-service land packages from dirt to turnkey, delivering beautiful, efficient manufactured homes on your chosen site. With 3 convenient locations, including Carlsberg, we're here to serve you. Visit mtviewhomes.com today to learn more. Mountain View Homes, where affordability meets quality.
In conjunction with Squim Valley Chapel and Harper Ridgeview Funeral Home, we're excited to announce the installation of 3 additional niche banks within the Veterans Circle at Mount Angeles Memorial Park in Port Angeles. Each bank has 48 niches, and each niche comfortably houses 1 to 2 sets of remains. We are proud to help serve veterans and their families by adding this additional memorial space to Mount Angeles Memorial Park. Peninsula Cemeteries, because endings matter.
News Radio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Stocks have been mixed to higher for much of the day today, with the possibility of hitting new record highs today at the close. Tech shares among those seeing solid strength. Allbirds shares flying higher. The former shoe company selling off its footwear assets and moving deeper into AI computing infrastructure instead. A jury has found Live Nation Entertainment illegally monopolized live events, ticketing, and amphitheater market sales. The jury also determining Live Nation illegally tied the use of venues to its concert promotion services. Not shares of rival ticket brokers like StubHub jumping on the news. And shares of American Eagle Outfitters gaining after the company announced its new ad campaign with actress Sydney Sweeney focusing on jean shorts. And in the alcoholic drinks business, Wall Street Journal says Sazerac is offered to buy Jack Daniels maker Brown-Forman for about $15 billion. Brown-Forman's been in deal talks with another competitor, French spirits maker Pernod Ricard. Denise Pellegrini, Bloomberg Radio.
If you're an Angelus Furniture customer, you'll never be taken for granted. At Angelus Furniture, you're the top priority.
We really appreciate our customers. We try to treat everybody with the utmost respect. We go the extra mile to try to take care of them when they buy something from us, and even when they don't buy something from us. You know, we look at it as a long-term relationship, not a one-transaction relationship.
For fine furniture and the treatment you deserve, shop Angelus Furniture on East 1st Street, Port Angeles.
The premium compact powerhouse is here. The new MT225S from LS Tractor. 25 horsepower, 2-pedal hydrostatic transmission, and a highly featured operator platform. Now available with dealer-installed cab. All backed by the legendary LS Tractor warranty. Demo the new MT225S at your local dealer today.
Find the perfect LS tractor for you at Leets Farm Supply in Squim. Locally owned and operated, call Leets at 360-452-1400.
LS Tractor, simply more.
News Radio KONP, traffic and roads.
Up to Clallam Transit Dispatch Center now, and that's where Steve's standing by. He's watching the noontime traffic for us. Good afternoon again, Steve.
Hi there. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, we're doing fairly well out there. If you're in either Port Angeles or Sequim, things are moving along fairly smoothly. It is definitely busy out there, though. Downtown Port Angeles coming through pretty kind of heavy traffic through the downtown area. Also, as you're trying to leave town to the east there through our construction zone and out to about the Morris Creek area. Sequim area is busy along Washington, Sequim Avenue, those areas, a little bit slow going at the traffic signals there. If you're headed beyond that, we are good with the Hood Canal Bridge. I think it is just finishing the maintenance opening that was scheduled for 1:30. I guess they did it a little bit earlier and didn't do the 10 o'clock one, so I guess that averages out. So it should be fine by the time you get there. State ferries are having all kinds of issues. Bainbridge and Edmonds are fine, but anything in the San Juan Islands, all the power out up there, having a lot of issues with being able to dock the ferries up there, so just be aware of that if you have anybody up there. If you're headed out to the west end, roads are in good shape all the way out, but there are scattered snow showers coming down in places. None of it's sticking, and it's the giant spring-size flakes coming down, but it just comes and goes, and roads are in good shape, so they should be fine if you're headed in that direction. So everybody take care, be safe. This is Steve reporting live from Konp Transit for KONP.
Thank you, Steve. Your forecast today does call for some unsettled weather around our area. Mix of clouds, sun breaks, scattered showers, maybe a thunderstorm mixed in as well this afternoon. Upper 40s for your highs. We improve a little bit into tomorrow, a little more sunshine, temps into the mid-50s. And then a gradual warm-up and clear-up as we head through the weekend. We'll be partly cloudy, a few showers, but by the end of the weekend, the first part of next week, pretty much some sunshine back and highs getting back into the 60s. Right now across the North Peninsula, it's 46 in Port Townsend. Out west at Forks, 44. Sequim's got 47 now. And out at Fairchild Airport, it is 45 degrees at last check. It is 6 minutes now in front of 1 o'clock on this Wednesday, April 15th, tax day.
At McCrory Carpet One, they sell more than just carpet. If you walk on it, they carry it. Hardwood, laminate, vinyl, tiles, stone, and more. Plus, experience their award-winning installation service on everything they sell. Because McCrory's sells more flooring than anyone else on the peninsula, and Carpet One stores sell more flooring nationally than anyone, they can say always priced right and always done right. McCrory Carpet One.
This is News Radio KONP.
Meta is about to add facial recognition to its next generation of Ray-Ban smart glasses. Well, let me tell you, domestic violence, labor groups, illegal alien advocacy groups, and LGBTQ plus organizations are outraged. But why? I'm Kim Commando for Splash of AI. I show regular folks how to use AI to solve real problems, save money, and get ahead. It's free. Sign up at splashofai.com. More than 70 groups have signed a petition demanding that Meta abandon facial recognition in its new smart glasses. Of course, these groups are outraged more often than not. And sure, these glasses can be misused, but they can also be controlled. Last week at the Masters, officials insisted that people with smart glasses remove them. Of course, that's private property. In public, you can legally record anything, anytime. In public, you simply have no right to privacy. In fact, millions of cams using Facial ID are recording us right now. So why can't we record what we see in public? Get my newsletter at splashofai.com. Here's the thing about artificial intelligence. It's not just for tech people. It's for anyone who wants to save money, save time, and stop feeling left behind. I'm Kim Commando. Every Thursday, I send out Splash of AI. It's my new free newsletter that shows you exactly how real people are using AI to solve real problems. cut a monthly bill, write a letter you've been dreading, plan a trip in minutes instead of hours, how to make sure your insurance does not get denied. This is the stuff that's working right now. I test it all myself. I skip the fluff and I explain everything in plain English because that's what I've done for almost 30 years. It's free, it's every Thursday, and it's the one email you'll actually look forward to opening. So go to splashofai.com right now and sign up while you're thinking about it. That's splashofai.com. It's totally free. AI is changing everything and anything you know, and I want to make sure that you're ready for all the changes, and my free newsletter will help you out. Splashofai.com is how you sign up. Splashofai.com.
I'm John Tesh, and coming up, I'll tell you what a Harvard University study discovered about structuring your day for maximum productivity and a great mood. It's next in today's Intelligence for Your Life Minute.
I'm U.S. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy. We all seem to be in a rush these days, from work to driving our kids around. But when you're behind the wheel, please do not speed. A few minutes saved by going faster is never worth the risk. So follow the speed limit, enjoy the drive, maybe bring some snacks for the kids, and know that along the way, you're getting quality time with your family.
Paid for by NHTSA.
A new Harvard study has discovered what happens to our mindset and productivity as the day progresses. They found that we all start each day on a high note. Mornings are optimistic, the day is new, nothing has ruined it yet. We also have a set amount of self-control that gets depleted as we make decisions throughout the day, like what to wear, what to eat for breakfast, whether to click buy now on Amazon. So by the time the afternoon rolls around, our self-control is beginning to evaporate, and we're more likely to give in to temptation. And when things haven't gone the way we hoped or planned, we get snappy, grumpy, and lazy. The Harvard researchers say the big takeaway from this is that we should do things that are actually important and require a lot of attention in the morning. And then you got to save the busy work for the afternoon when your brain is more fatigued. Makes sense, right? I'm John Tesh with today's Intelligence for Your Life Minute.
This afternoon on the Todd Ortloff Show, we'll talk with Peninsula College President Susie Ames, plus Ray Deptula on his new book and the American Revolution. And Amanda Bacon joins us with her latest bacon bit. It's all happening Wednesday afternoon here.
Join us at 1 o'clock Monday through Thursday for the Todd Ortloff Show on KONP. Information to keep you engaged in your community with the people and organizations who keep it running. Sponsored by Dan Shappy Farmers Insurance.
Meet Dennis. He and his wife call Lavender Meadows and Squim home.
They have a lot of modular home communities here, but Lavender Meadows stands way above the others. It's beautiful. There's a lot to do here. We have a beautiful clubhouse. We have bocce ball courts. We have a pickleball court. We have so many friends. It's like one big family here now.
Come tour Lavender Meadows and Squim or go to lavendermeadowsmhc.com.
The North Olympic Peninsula's news station. News Radio KONP Port Angeles Squim. AM 1450, FM 101.7 and 101.3. A Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. In Manhattan federal court today, a jury finding Live Nation illegally monopolized the market for tickets using pressure and leverage. The jury determined that Ticketmaster overcharged consumers by $1.72 per ticket. Here's ABC's Perry Russum.
Live Nation owns, operates, and controls the booking for hundreds of venues. And then Ticketmaster is the group that sells tickets for the events. Live Nation was accused of crushing its competition by blocking venues from using other ticket sellers. Live Nation argued in court they are not a monopoly, saying the different performers and venues decide the prices, not them. But then last month, Live Nation and the federal government struck a deal, a surprise deal, that required the company to admit wrongdoing.
The judge will decide how Live Nation should pay. Efforts on a second round of talks between the U.S. and Iran continuing. The U.S. is also keeping up its blockade of the Strait of Hormuz. ABC's Karen Travers with details.
The president in a social media post said, quote, "China is very happy that I am permanently opening the Strait of Hormuz." Now, it's not clear what the president means there by permanently opening, because, of course, there is that blockade right now by the U.S. Navy, which the president says has been brilliant and it's holding 100%.
Iran vowing to expand, and it's disrupting transit, this time in the Red Sea, if the U.S. continues with its blockade. Sources tell ABC News Justice Department investigators tried to visit the Federal Reserve today in the ongoing probe into renovation costs.
Sources say 2 prosecutors and an FBI agent were turned away when they showed up unannounced and requested a tour of the Fed's ongoing renovations. Attorney Robert Hur, who investigated Joe Biden's handling of classified documents as special counsel, is now representing Fed Chair Jerome Powell. In a letter to U.S. Attorney Janine Pirro, Hur said it is not appropriate for the prosecutor's office to try to circumvent a recent federal court decision quashing a subpoena probing the costly construction project.
ABC's Stephen Portnoy, you're listening to ABC News.
You know the feeling. It's 2 a.m. You're awake, running the numbers in your head. Payroll's coming. A client hasn't paid. Costs just went up. And you're thinking, how am I going to make this work? That's where LendSeek comes in.
That was me. I had payroll in 3 days and money tied up in receivables. I couldn't wait weeks for a bank. I went to LendSeek, and within minutes, I saw real funding options. They were clear, upfront, no games. By the next day, the money was in my account. Payroll went out. Crisis over.
LendSeek uses AI to match your business with the right funding, up to $5 million in as fast as 24 hours.
With LendSeek, it's not just funding, it's knowing you're covered when things get tight.
If you've been in business for at least 1 year with at least $500,000 annual revenue, apply today. No upfront costs, no prepaid penalties, because in business, waiting isn't an option. Start ready, stay ready with LendSeek. Apply at lendseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com.
SantaCon, the event with a holiday party hook where people dress as Santa Claus and go bar hopping for charity, has been called a con by prosecutors in New York. Stephen Pildes arrested on federal wire fraud charges. Prosecutors say he used the money raised to fatten his own piggy bank. More from ABC's Aaron Katursky.
Federal prosecutors here in New York said he took most of the money that's raised through this annual drunken bar crawl that 25,000 people participate in each year and misappropriating it for his own use, for extensive renovations to a lakefront house, for nice meals out, for other luxury goods.
Walmart's in-house generic brands will soon look a little different. The company says it's working to adapt to what shoppers want.
Great Value is not only Walmart's biggest private label food brand, it's one of the largest consumer brands in the country. The new redesign of its packaging will include newer, more appetizing food like lasagna garnished with a basil leaf on a red checkered tablecloth. Products will also more prominently display key ingredients and allergens, such as whether they're gluten or nut-free. Walmart says more shoppers are buying store brands to save money and that its Great Value redesign is the first in more than 30 years. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
If you have not finished your taxes yet, today is the deadline to file or ask the IRS for an extension. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Hi, everyone. It's Alicia Campion with Ridgeline Home Care Cooperative. We're a worker-owned cooperative. Our caregivers are owners, focused on dignity, trust, and supporting loved ones at home. Accepting care is about independence, not weakness. We care and support the life someone has already built. Join our team or trust us with your loved one's care. We're Ridgeline Home Care Cooperative, with you at home. Call 360-504-3837.
Join us for Healthy Kids Day, happening April 18th from 10 to 1 at all Olympic Peninsula YMCA branches. Our free, family-friendly event is packed with fun. Navigate through obstacle courses, camp activities, wellness challenges, live demos, and more. Plus, register for our brand new summer specialty camps. No sign-up needed. Just show up and bring the whole family. Don't miss out on free goodie bags while supplies last. For more details, visit OlympicPeninsulaYMCA.org. See you there.
KONP News brought to you by RE/MAX Evergreen Real Estate. Outstanding agents, outstanding results. 457-6600. A convicted drug dealer is headed to prison following a series of arrests in Clallam County. 37-year-old Sergei Kubai pleaded guilty to charges, including possession of a stolen firearm, fentanyl with intent to deliver, and DUI. He was sentenced under the state's drug offender program to up to 20 months in prison, followed by supervision. The case involved multiple arrests last December, including a crash where a stolen gun was found. Kubai now remains in custody and could face additional charges. A public safety town hall set for tomorrow night in Port Angeles. The forum runs Thursday, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the Fairview Grange. County Commissioner, the prosecutor, sheriff, and PA police chief will be there to talk with the public.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by Olympic Game Farm. Thunderstorms likely this afternoon, otherwise overcast skies. Daytime highs approaching 47. Winds out of the west, 8 to 15 miles per hour. chance for rain. Tonight, lows level off around 35, mainly clear skies. Daytime highs approaching 52. Tomorrow, bright sunshine. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Friday, with daytime highs approaching 51. 56, chance for rain. Saturday. A peek at the extended shows, 59 Sunday, 61 Monday, and 61 on Tuesday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, it's 44 degrees.
It's the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP. Now, here's Todd.
Welcome once again to our program. Well, we all learned the story of the American Revolution growing up, and almost always from the same side. Well, a new book takes a different approach, telling the story through the eyes of a young British soldier caught up in a war he doesn't fully understand. It's called A Dog Before a Soldier, and the author says it's not just about history, it's about the people who fight wars, the choices they face, and the parallels that we may see today. So joining us is the author of A Dog Before a Soldier, Ray Deptula, who's on the phone with us. Ray, thanks for coming on.
Yes, Todd, thank you very much for having me.
So let's talk. What made you want to tell this story from the British side about the American Revolution?
Well, I had a career in the Navy, and part of that career was studying at the Naval War College in Newport, Rhode Island. And we went over basically the relationship between the government, the people, and the military. And in one particular semester, we took a look at a lot of different conflicts dating back to the Peloponnesian Wars, 2,000 years ago. We looked at them from a holistic view, not from who was right or who was wrong, with why it happened, how it happened. And I just became fascinated at looking at any conflict in that lens, and I've always been fascinated with the American.
Right, you're cutting out there just a little bit, Ray. I missed that little bit, but hopefully I get you reconnected. Okay,
there we
go.
This should be better. So the last part of that was in a large way, the American Revolution was Great Britain's Vietnam. They made a lot of mistakes. They had a lot of dysfunction in their government, and I just thought that that we all learn the traditional history, but if you look at it from the British point of view, to me, it's a lot more instructive.
All right, so tell us a bit about your main character, Jack Halliday, and take us through his story.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Just take us through his story a bit.
So he's a young man. He starts as a teenager. He's kind of a common everyman. Nothing special about him, but he's a guy that comes from a dysfunctional family. He runs away, finds himself on a slave ship. That doesn't work out for him. Tries to go home. That doesn't work out for him. And just out of desperation, he joins, at that point, the British Army as a means to support himself. And to me, that's a concept that is timeless, because that happened well before that. It happened definitely during that period, and it happens today. And so I wanted to tell a story from the standpoint of this story could have been told during any period, during any conflict, and I thought it was interesting. I used the American Revolution, as a timeline to kind of propel him along different places. But he's an everyman, and as he grows into a leader, as he gets older and as he experiences different challenges, and he doesn't think much of himself, but he succeeds in spite of himself. And I think that after 24 years of the Navy, I saw thousands of people like this. So I wanted to tell a story about somebody, the kind of character that I saw over and over again in today's military, and just transplant them back into what I personally think is a timeless concept.
What's interesting about this, too, is we as Americans kind of know it from the American side of things. In any sense, people who join up into the armed forces here on the U.S. side of it, did it make it easier to tell this story by going to the other side, from the British side, in this case?
I wouldn't say easier. but it was more interesting because, I grew up in southern Maine, so I like to say, just north of Boston. I marinated in colonial history, so, I already had a taste for it. I knew quite a bit about it, but what really fascinated me was looking at it from the British side. In a way, it made it easier because it wasn't a lot of work. And my biggest challenge actually was not to put too much in, to not go down too many rabbit holes, because I could have still been writing it. I could have written 1,000 pages easily.
For certain. What do we as Americans not understand about the Revolutionary War? And I guess probably because we don't see it from that British perspective.
One thing we don't understand is we have a tendency to equate the American Revolution with New England. And it did start there, but it didn't end there. And 90% of the conflict took place well south of there, in the middle colonies and in the south. It was actually one in the south, and it was a very dirty, nasty affair where neighbors were murdering each other that had been, that had grown up with each other. And it was not the patriotic necessarily. There was an element of that, but it was not necessarily, the patriotic affair that we think it is. And when our Congress at the time had to make a decision to switch from the use of militias, which weren't up to speed, to a standing army, which was very unpopular, that's when the element of people who were desperate to come into the military start, populating the ranks. And when that happened, it got a lot more brutal than when it started.
Interesting, yeah. What do you think is the most part of us through the other side's perspective? If there was one nugget that we as an American should know about the British side of this.
The biggest mistake that the British made was King George. King George inherited at an early age a government that had won the French and Indian War, and a government that had debated. There was a lot of opinions that were able to be brought out, and because of that, the British ended up prevailing in that war. When King George came in, he wanted to basically strengthen the monarchy, and so he snuffed out any debate. His opinion, if he wanted your opinion, he'd give it to you. So he created this atmosphere in his government where nobody was. He was only listening to himself, and the only way to get ahead in his government was to echo his opinion. So they got it all wrong. They if they'd handled it differently, we probably still would have been British subjects. But so to us, our government, we're allowed to speak out. We're allowed to debate with each other. We're quite polarized now, but that's okay. But the fact that we have so many opinions and we're allowed to to utilize them in the way we do is the strength of our country. And it was definitely something, in my opinion, that lost them the conflict, and lost them the colonies during that conflict.
Now, you've said that people who fight wars are often the least able to avoid them. Tell us what you mean by that.
So what I mean by that is, and this happens today, it kind of gets back to, someone who comes from, there's a lot of people that enter into the military, and, we're not necessarily getting the worst of the worst, today like we did before. But I'm a good example of this. I went into the military because I didn't have a whole lot of other options. And the military for me was the best place I could have gone. And if you look back, for example, the Vietnam War, we had a lot of people, we had the draft. We had a lot of people getting out of the draft. Some people were privileged and able to do it. Some people who weren't privileged weren't able to do it. So that's a concept that usually when the fighting starts and who shows up, it's a lot of times, or most times, someone who doesn't have any way to avoid it. So to me, that's another timeless concept. Whether it was in the American Revolution or today, I see lots of people in the military that they didn't have a lot of other choices, and the best place for them was the military, and it was good. It was good for them. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but a lot of times it does.
And certainly, if you're in better, more peacetime military as opposed to a wartime military, you're going to have two different outcomes. In some, I mean, that's blatantly obvious as well.
Yes.
And these folks who do join up as well. Now, Jack, your character here is meant to represent the everyman caught up in something bigger. Is that a good way to kind of frame him?
That's a good way to frame him. I mean, he's caught up in something. He joins the British Army out of desperation, and he just happens to be shipped over to the colonies as part of the British, security, build-up over there. And he has no idea of the politics, and not only doesn't have any idea, he doesn't care. He's just happy to have, 3 meals a day and a place to sleep. And okay, he does some hard physical labor, and he gets caught up in the march to Lexington and Concord, and things turned kind of nasty for him. But he's just an everyman. He's at that point just happy to have somebody taking care of him and to have found in a way a family. Yeah.
So how aware were soldiers like Jack of what they really were fighting for? Certainly this was a different time. It took, weeks for news to get anywhere. It's not like today where you just log on and find out, kind of what's happening in the world.
Well, one of the things that Jack and other people like him couldn't believe at the time, that the American colonists who had a huge middle class, they were artisans, they were farmers. They had more, at their disposal than any British subject would have had, unless they were a nobleman. And so these soldiers are scratching their heads, saying, "What are these people complaining about? They've got more than we're ever going to have, in our lifetime." And yet they're complaining that they're being abused, and they couldn't figure that out. But I can also tell you through personal experience that when you're that young and you're in the military, you don't really understand. You don't really understand what the decisions that are propelling you along. You're just trusting that those who make those decisions know what they're doing, and you've signed up to be part of that, and you end up basically wanting to support the people next to you. The biggest driver when you're in that position is not wanting to let down the people that are next to you, and you really could care less about anything else. Yeah. It's not letting down the team, even to the point of risking or even losing your life.
What other parallels, besides kind of what you just pointed out there, between the Revolution and modern conflicts do you see? I mean, if we read this and you say, what's happening, say, in the Middle East today, that's very much similar to what was going on in the Revolutionary War with those soldiers.
Well, we tend to get ourselves into, these military conflicts. Today's a good example. I mean, this has been happening for us for, the last century, although we haven't had a big one, where we get ourselves into these messy conflicts, and sometimes they work out, and sometimes they don't. Getting back to, the British decisions they made to take a heavy hand approach, to, the issue was one of authority, not one that they weren't really being hurt economically. It was really about authority, almost like a father disciplining a young teenager that's getting out of hand. And, that approach turned out to be wrong. And then you have to look at, some of the things that we've done in the last few decades, arguably weren't the right decisions, and those were political decisions, not necessarily the people that are executing them. So, to me, the biggest parallel is that there's always going to be conflict. There's always going to be the temptation to use the military in when it might be done better a different way, and that's probably not going to change because human nature doesn't change. And I think sometimes a lot of the people that make these decisions don't look back far enough because it's the same mistakes or no mistakes that have been made many times before. So to me, that's the biggest the biggest parallel, and also the fact that we're always going to be polarized. And the fact that we're polarized, we were more polarized then than we are now, and that's almost a good thing because it's a reflection of our country's ability to have a difference of opinion, publicly. And when that goes away, bad things follow. But the fact that we're polarized and are allowed to be polarized is a parallel, with the colonial period, all throughout our history. And to me, it's not a bad thing.
All right, back to the story. Jack switches sides at one point in your story. Talk a bit about that.
Well, I originally wrote, this is the first book of a 2-book series. Right. And I originally wrote the book as one book, and my literary agent talked me into splitting it into 2 parts. And she thought it would be more impactful, so I did it. So this book, A Dog Before a Soldier, takes Jack up until, I want to give too much away. He's a British soldier, and he leaves. And then the second book deals with him going into the Continental Army and his relationship with a slave that comes along with him.
That's right.
So
that was my lead into this is a series. So
yes,
just beat me to it. So when is the next part going to come out after this one? Of course, we need to read this one first, but when do we get part 2, so to speak?
It would be better to read this one first. It'd be more meaningful. Yeah. Part 2 is I'm working right now with the publisher to knock out the cover and just the final formatting. It's all written.
Soon,
and it comes out in July.
Okay, perfect. So pick this one and get caught up, and then get to the rest of the story, as famous Paul Harvey used to say.
And to me, the second book is better. The second half, it's even better. Yep.
Going back to how we started this, though, this is the only book that I've ever seen that has been, taken this perspective, driven for an American audience essentially, but written from this British perspective. I think that's pretty novel for a novel, for lack of a better term.
Well, I don't know why that is. To me, it was kind of obvious and more interesting. And in a way, I didn't take sides. I just kind of wrote it. Said, here's what happened. Here's who decided what. Here's why they decided. And here's what Jack is doing as a foot soldier. And I tried to be very agnostic about everything. But there's a heavy dose of the British point of view in this. There's no doubt about it.
And also the point of view of, as you pointed out, that things were not as clean, I use that in quotes, as we might think in history. Here in the U.S., we had families fighting against families. I mean, it was almost a civil war in a lot of ways because you had loyalists and those who weren't.
Yeah. Another thing, George Washington does not appear anywhere as a character in the book, but he's mentioned many times. And, folks might be interested to know that he was not well thought of at the time. He was well thought of by the people and by the military, but the folks that were in the Congress at the time wanted to get rid of him. And there were some very strong opinions about, trying to oust him out. And if they had, again, we wouldn't be a country because it was totally up to his personal leadership. But it was amazing how different politicians of the time wanted to replace him and tried very hard to do that, but were not successful, fortunately.
All right. If there's one thing you would want people to rethink about the American Revolution, what might it be? Kind of in context now that you've put this book, actually these books together.
I think it wasn't the clean patriotic war that we tend to think it is, and it was much like any other conflict. It could have very well gone the other way. It was really a miracle that we're here as a country, and I just would like them to know that the main character, Jack, there's 1,000 of him, if not 10,000 of him in the military today. Good people, just doing their job, just want a place to be.
Ray, it's a fascinating book, and I encourage people to pick it up, A Dog Before a Soldier, and then get ready this summer and get the second part to it because it has a really interesting twist, as you already kind of gave us a hint to. Thanks so much for spending some time today with us.
Yes, so one last thing, you can find it on Amazon, A Dog Before a Soldier, or I have an author's website, raydeptulaauthor.com.
You got it. All right, Ray. We'll have to have you back again when the next one comes out. How about that? All right?
Yes, please do. I'll let you know. Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you for your service as well. I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Ray. Ray Deptula there. His book is A Dog Before a Soldier. Pick it up today. It's really an interesting perspective on the American Revolution, told from the British side of things. We'll take a break. Be back with more in just a moment.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP.
April is the month for our used car bonanza. This is Dale from Wilder Auto, and if you're in the market for a used car, truck, SUV, or van, then you're going to strike gold at Wilder Auto. The good news is that we have the biggest selection of pre-owned gems on the peninsula. When you add to that our state-of-the-art service facilities, over 100 lenders available, and of course the Wilder Advantage, why would you go anywhere else? I'd like to invite you to come on down and do some prospecting, or check us out 24/7 at wilderauto.com.
Are you going to the event of the year this Saturday night? The Naval Elks Lodge in Port Angeles invites you to journey through the lodge and discover all the hidden secrets. A night of outstanding live entertainment, including acrobats, underground boxing, live music from Super Nostalgia and Jimmy Hoffman. And what's a celebration without the Elks' famous party snacks? Join us this Saturday night and get lost in the lodge. Get your tickets now by emailing navalelksevents@gmail.com.
Hey there, Dawn Riling with Olympic Hot Tub. We're here to help you achieve total wellness at home. Right now, save up to $2,800 on a saltwater hot spring spa for fabulous healthy soaks. Or save up to $12,000 on an endless pool swim spa and turn your backyard into a year-round swim oasis. These massive savings end April 30th. OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Olympic Hot Tub.
Hi everyone, it's Leslie Robertson from the Chamber of Commerce, and I'd like to invite you to the Clallam County Volunteer Fair on Wednesday, April 22nd from 4 to 7 p.m. at Vern Burton Community Center. Stop by to learn about local organizations and find ways to give back to the community. Whether you've been helped in the past and you want to pay it forward, you want to meet new friends, or you just want to find out about the great things going on in our community, come by and explore. There is no pressure, and you'll meet some really great people. Plus, we'll have free nachos, popcorn, and other treats. Or if you're an organization that is seeking volunteers, there's still time to grab a booth. You can check it all out on our website at portangeles.org. Once again, that's Wednesday, April 22nd from 4 to 7 p.m. at Vern Burton Community Center. And applications are still available for organizations who want to participate. So just visit our website, portangeles.org. Hope to see you there.
Your voice, your news. News Radio KONP, Port Angeles Squim, AM 1450, FM 101.7 and 101.3, a Radio Pacific station.
Hi, I'm Dr. Evan Small, Chair of Emergency Medicine at Olympic Medical Center. When you or a loved one needs emergency care, the experience can feel overwhelming. I want to help change that. Join me for a free presentation Thursday, April 16th at 5:30 p.m. at Olympic Memorial Hospital. I'll share how you can come prepared to the ER, how our triage process works, and what to expect during your visit. Reserve your seat today at olympicmedical.org/RSVP.
From ABC News Tech Trends, after OpenAI CEO Sam Altman's home in San Francisco was the target of two separate violent attacks in recent days, former FBI Special Agent Brad Garrett says the tech leader is likely making some changes.
He will enhance, I believe, his security. It's called target hardening in that world, where you basically create an even more defensible place than it was previously.
No one was hurt in either incident, but in at least one case where a man allegedly threw a Molotov cocktail at Altman's home, the attack appeared to have been motivated by anti-AI sentiment. Garrett says it comes against the backdrop of a growing anxiety around the technology among the general population.
Other people, well-known people, CEOs, etc., that could also be targets of people that have maybe a similar bent about the apocalyptic aspects of AI.
With Tech Trends, I'm Mike Dubusky. AB.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, our credit card bill came and it's higher than last month.
How? We haven't charged anything.
Paying the minimum isn't enough. It will keep getting higher until we take control. We need to go to 47fastcash.com.
With our bad credit?
47fastcash.com can help any credit type get approved for up to $5,000 in minutes.
Take control and get the money you need at 47fastcash.com. 47fastcash.com.
I've been telling you all about the Secret War on our cash and the free report you can receive a copy of by contacting Swiss America at 800-289-2646. I'd also like to encourage you to subscribe to their podcast on YouTube. Just search Swiss America Trading. The podcast can provide you a ton of vital information and financial news in the challenging and uncertain times we're in. Subscribe today. Learn more about BRICS, industry leaders, and their market predictions for the future, along with what you might expect to see in terms of precious metal performance in the weeks and months ahead. Message and data rates may apply.
Now, a word from our friends at the Eagles Club in Port Angeles. You know, they're always looking for new members, and with membership comes some pretty big perks, like discounted cover charges for events, live music, discounted facility rental, a whole lot more. They got a great bar, great food and snack options every day, and the friendliest service around. The Eagles Club offers something every day of the week, and you know, it's football season, so check out Seahawk game day parties, 50-50s, paddle wheel, a whole potluck as well. Tuesdays, poker, 6 p.m. with a $20 buy-in. You must be signed in by a member. And Wednesdays, the Imperfectionists Music Jam Session is free. You got to be signed in by a member for that as well. Thursdays, Barstool Bingo starts up at 6 p.m. Sales start at 5:30. And Fridays, they have the Queen of Hearts raffle for members only with a current jackpot of over $8,000. Saturday evenings are for live music with some talented local bands. Becoming an Eagles member today, stop in or call 360-452-3344.
Hi, I'm John Hull. I'm president of Tri-State Roofing, serving the Puget Sound since 2007. Tri-State Roofing is committed to making every step of the process stress-free. You'll have a dedicated production manager helping you with every aspect, start to finish. Right now, we're offering 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments for 6 months. Call Tri-State today, and we'll be out tomorrow.
Tri-State Roofing, we got you covered.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. A new round of peace talks between the U.S. and Iran still not set, with the ceasefire deadline coming next week. The White House is touting tax day. The IRS says the average refund this year is roughly 11% more from last year. But higher gas prices due to the war could erase any savings. ABC's Karen Travers says the Treasury Secretary says he thinks those prices could turn around if the war ends soon.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent was careful to say that it really depends on how the peace talks go and when a deal is reached between the U.S. and Iran. But as he got pushed on a timeline for when prices could come down, he did say that they anticipate at some point this summer. So he said between June 20th and September 20th, didn't give an exact date, that there would be gas prices back down in the $3 range.
The Senate failing again to advance an Iran war powers resolution, which would require the president to end the war or seek approval from Congress. And on Wall Street, stocks ended in mixed territory. This is ABC News.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by Olympic Game Farm. Thunderstorms likely this afternoon, otherwise overcast skies. Daytime highs approaching 47. Winds out of the west, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Chance for rain tonight, lows level off around 35, mainly clear skies. Daytime highs approaching 52. Tomorrow, bright sunshine. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Friday, with daytime highs approaching 51. 56, chance for rain Saturday. A peek at the extended shows, 59 Sunday, 61 Monday, and 61 on Tuesday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, it's 44 degrees.
Welcome back to the program. We're going to talk about diabetes in this next segment. We're bringing in ABC's Brad Milkey, who had a chance to talk with Steve Osunsami, who you often hear on our air from ABC, about a very personal issue with diabetes and perhaps some hope for the future.
For years, my colleague Steve Osunsami has been reporting on diabetes. It's personal for him.
My father was a diabetic for most of his life, and he took terrible care of his blood sugar levels.
He describes coming home one day to the news that his father's condition had gotten beyond anything he could imagine.
It wasn't until I walked into the house that day that my father was finally honest about it, because what was happening is he's staring at me in the face and he did not know who I was. He only knew who I was when I started talking. The diabetes had robbed my father of his sight. He was already blind. My dad died about 2 years after that.
But recently, he says, the world of type 2 diabetes has seen an epidemic, not just of the disease, but also an epidemic of amputations.
What often happens with diabetics is they lose their fingers, or usually their lower extremities, their toes, their feet.
When high blood sugar is left unchecked, arteries get clogged and blood vessels get narrow. Eventually, they get so weak and frail that extremities can't get enough blood to survive.
There is this exceptional rise in what's called PAD, peripheral artery disease, and the amputations that occur because of that.
In the next hour after you hear this, 16 Americans will have had amputations because of it, which is how Steve met Cynthia Ryan.
I'm so happy to be able to tell somebody my story.
We followed the story of Cynthia Ryan. She's a 64-year-old retired nurse and grandmother in Memphis, Tennessee.
People tell me all the time, I ain't gonna claim diabetes. You ain't gotta claim it because it's gonna claim you.
Cynthia learned she had diabetes back in 2001. Eventually, she managed to get her blood sugar down, but damage had already been done. She'd had 2 heart attacks, her kidneys were failing. Now, a simple toe injury became an emergency. It became clear her arteries were not sending enough blood to her feet.
Her toe was black. It was very hard to look at. She knew she was diabetic, but she wasn't really taking care of her blood sugar levels, and now she's in crisis.
Now, when Steve says crisis, he means crisis. When blood flow deteriorates like this, damage to the toe can quickly become damage to the foot or the leg. Because of that, the first instinct for many doctors can be to amputate aggressively. But some doctors say that instinct has become part of the problem. While diabetes cases have risen, amputations have exploded. And those amputations are not spread around the country equally.
What we also saw is that those amputations were more prevalent in Black and brown communities.
Some of this is about healthcare and medical trends, but the other part, many experts say, is systemic. It's about access to early prevention, hospital resources. It matters where these decisions are happening. Like, it's one thing to be in a specialist's appointment, it's another thing to be in an emergency room. But one thing is clear, amputations are often the first step down a devastating road.
Movement is life. And so just by saving these limbs, you're saving that patient's life.
Dr. Jacqueline Majors in Memphis told us of these patients who end up with a major amputation, 25% of them are usually dead in a year.
These patients significantly benefit from an angiogram. And that's an intervention where you open up the blood vessels in their legs, which can restore flow, heal wounds, and prevent amputations.
Dr. Majors became Cynthia's doctor. She was determined to make sure Cynthia only lost that one toe.
We start off with a small, gentle balloon dilation.
She actually used a balloon to literally inflate the spaces inside Cynthia's foot to get the blood flowing.
We were there with her during this procedure in Memphis, and it was a success.
How does the foot feel?
Foot feels good.
She woke up from the procedure, and instantly she said that the pain in her foot was less.
Look how she's walking. Oh my goodness, Kara, look, no wobbling.
You could just tell she felt better because that foot was getting blood flow in a way that it wasn't.
So her next steps will be go see her podiatrist. He will set her up for the toe amputation, and then she'll be seeing him and myself afterwards to evaluate to make sure we get good wound healing.
This is where I wish I could tell you Cynthia got her toe amputated and went home happy and healthy. That's not what happened, though. Remember how Steve said some health outcomes can be systemic? Well, her family says there was confusion about when she was supposed to get her toe removed. Instead of that amputation happening within days or a week, it was delayed by weeks. Soon, the damage was spreading.
The doctors decided they had to cut off her foot. And so they started with cutting off the whole foot. And what often happens in these cases is they determine that that's not enough. They had to come back and cut more. I think they said she did 2 or 3 surgeries, and they were around either above or below the knee when Miss Ryan said no more, and she died in January of this year.
That experience rocked everyone associated with Cynthia. It rocked Steve.
Oh, Brad, these are like, because of my own personal story, that news hit me.
But Cynthia's family is determined not to let it happen to others.
What is your advice for any other family who might be dealing with this?
Make sure you are able to navigate this and make decisions as you go and not as an emergency. These are preventable things that we could have prevented if we had educated ourselves better.
Just in the last year, new tools have been approved by the FDA that can help avert amputation.
One of them is a stent that is degradable. It's a stent that kind of opens up the blood vessels, and it can degrade on its own. And another is a removable stent that doctors can put in and pull out later because they don't like leaving stents in because they can sometimes fail.
Cynthia's family says for patients, the message is simple. Act now. If you have diabetes, get treatment. If you're noticing changes to your blood flow, get it checked. And hopefully, with these new tools, fewer lives will get cut short.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP.
Visit A1 Auto Parts in Sequim and get ready to cruise, no matter where the road or water takes you. A1 Auto Parts in Marine has a wide selection of marine, auto, and trailer supplies, plus expert knowledge to ensure smooth sailing. A1 Auto even custom makes hydraulic hoses while you wait. Whether land or sea, rely on A1 Auto Parts in Marine in Sequim, right across from Sunshine Cafe Sequim.
Hello, this is Katie McCormick with Sequim Valley and Harper Ridgeview Funeral Chapels. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about a new, exciting, and environmentally friendly development in the funeral industry. It's called Natural Organic Reduction, or terramation. Perhaps you've heard of it. Terramation is a process in which the body, after death, is returned to the earth in a carbon-neutral, eco-friendly manner. The process takes place in a controlled environment, and all that remains is a natural, odorless, compost-like material. If you would like more information about terramation and advanced planning, call us today at Harper Ridgeview in Port Angeles or Sequim Valley Chapel in Sequim, and one of our knowledgeable and caring funeral professionals will assist you in answering your questions. Harper Ridgeview and Sequim Valley Funeral Chapels, because your loved ones deserve the best.
Do you know when your septic system was last inspected? Clallam County Environmental Health keeps those records and can tell you. Pumping your septic and complete septic inspections by licensed professionals are two very different things. State law requires inspections every 1 to 3 years, depending on the system you have. Get more information about your septic system and inspection requirements by calling Clallam County Environmental Health 360-417-2258 or by logging on to clallam.net/septic.
Come see Price Ford when shopping for your next new or pre-owned vehicle. How about a new Ford F-150 for those tough tasks, a sleek Ford Mustang, or a versatile Escape for your daily commute? Price Ford has a comprehensive selection for every need and budget. Our knowledgeable sales team will help you find the perfect vehicle that fits your lifestyle and budget. Price Ford, next to Walmart in Port Angeles, or priceford.com.
Looking for the next place to call home? Come to our Lavender Meadows in Sequim. Beautiful, affordable homes for active 55-plus adults. Our modern, low-maintenance homes give you more time to enjoy life. More than a home, you'll enjoy community, active lifestyle, value, and security. We're confident you'll appreciate the modern amenities too. Come to our Lavender Meadows in Sequim or online at lavendermeadowsmhc.com.
Welcome back to the program. It is Wednesday, and it's time for our weekly Bacon Bit segment. That's when our own Amanda Bacon comes in, talks with some famous folks in the celebrity vein and what they're up to these days. And today, Mark Harmon, one of our guests. Yeah, you know Mark Harmon most recently, his role as Leroy Jethro Gibbs on the hit drama NCIS. But he's also out with a new book co-authored with Leon Carroll Jr., The Ghosts of Sicily. Here's this week's Bacon Bit.
Good morning, Mark. Good morning, Leon.
Good morning, Amanda.
It's very nice to chat with you today. Thank you so much for your time. We're talking about Ghosts of Sicily. What an incredible book. Who wants to start on how this became a thing?
Mark, I'll let you go.
Well, you accept a role on a TV show. They tell you a lot of things, and one of the things they told me was this is going to be based on real cases every week, and then people think that NCIS, the TV show, jumped right out. It didn't. It took 3 or 4 years for it to get kind of a handle on an audience and people to get interested, and it was at a time where the network had time to stay with it and do that. So. All those 20-hour days plus, I sat next to Leon Carroll and said, he was the technical advisor. I was trying to learn things about this agency, anything I could, and we would talk about the real NCIS, what he really did.
Yeah.
And he's a Marine as well. So
yes,
my character is a Marine. So as much as I'm a nice guy and trying to be nice to Leon, I'm digging all the time with him. Everything he says, I'm paying attention to. And part of that is about his life as an NCIS special agent. And they don't talk about anything they do. And they don't care if you know.
Yeah.
And that to me was important to try to somehow work into this character. But aside from that, we did talk about if we ever had the opportunity to tell the real stories of this agency, we were going to take advantage of that.
So, Leon, you lived the NCIS, like you lived that life, and you, get told these stories when you join, and then hey, we're going to tell you this, but not a lot of people know, and have fun with this knowledge and don't do it or do it. What goes on there?
So, Amanda, that's one of the reasons why we did this, because we're not told the history of our agency. Or if we were, I was probably in it too long to remember that. but I can tell you this. I didn't know the two stories, the World War II stories, were new to me when we started researching and doing the book. The Panama one was one that was near and dear to me because I was the agent in charge after the operation took place. So I think it's something that I've gotten, agents have called me and said, hey, I didn't know this. This is our rich history. And even when I joined the agency, I didn't know we had this counterintelligence mission. And it was an enigma to me. And it only took about 1.5 to 2 years before I was specializing in counterintelligence. So, no, this is something that, most agents have no idea about.
So, Leon, let's start with you, and let's talk about Ghosts of Sicily and what this story specifically is about.
Yeah, it's simply put, it's where we, O&I at that time is what the agency was called, partners up with organized crime, the mafia, and we go after basically the Germans and the Italian military who we were fighting in Europe. Story starts in 1942, and the Office of Naval Intelligence, the district office in New York, determines that, hey, we're having a problem with U-boats taking out merchant ships off the coast, the East Coast here. What can we do? So they initially started to look at German infiltration of our system here in New York, our families, neighborhoods, and all of that. And that progressed into looking at Italian. And the idea was that the Germans and the Italians had spies that they had put here, and we looked at the fish market, which was run by organized crime, the Fulton Fish Market, and Sox Lanza, Joe Lanza, he was running the unions, doing the extortion racket, and all of that. And he was approached because he was under indictment and he probably wanted to get some leniency in whatever happened when he was tried. So he decided that he would do things by allowing ONI agents to infiltrate the fish industry and all the other rackets that they were doing here in New York. When that became something that was too small for us, we wanted to go bigger, and so they brought in Meyer Lansky, and Meyer says, hey, the guy who can make this all happen is Lucky Luciano, and Lucky Luciano was in prison up in Danaborough. So that's kind of how it all started. The rest of the story is really spelled out in the book.
Mark, what is it like working with someone like Leon who has, the clearance that he has, who has seen the things that he has, and who has lived the life that you're now portraying? Working with him on this, was your mouth open and dropped all the time learning this? Or is this just, yeah, that's how it was?
No, listen, I got educated, and again, I'll say it again, it all comes from respect. Not trying to jeopardize anybody or hurt anybody or tell things that people shouldn't be talking about, but these stories not only shaped the agency, they shaped history, and there was a part of that makes that the fact that you don't know about it, it's time to know something about it. I guarantee you don't know everything about it, and I respect that. But it comes from just so many hours on this TV show, sitting next to this man, and just coming to the understanding that his life is special, and what he did and does is special, and that partnership, other than a thank you to him for the time he spent on this show doing that and being my friend, we both respect this agency, and we're both trying to influence people's knowledge or understanding of the history that this country has gone through.
Well, Mark Harmon, Leon Carroll Jr., the book is Ghosts of Sicily. I got to tell you, my boyfriend is former SWIC crew, and so through the Navy. And I am very much looking forward to getting this book for him. And I know that he's just gonna eat it up.
Well, that's great. We hope he enjoys it. Let us know what he thinks about it.
We will, absolutely. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. We've got a book signing tonight, so bring the book and we'll sign it for him.
Oh, man. Where at?
New Jersey.
Oh, well, all right. I'll be right there.
Okay, see you tonight.
You can catch this Bacon Bit and all of Amanda's Bacon Bits on our podcast section. It's our Radio Rewind section at our website, myclallamcounty.com. Click on Radio Rewind.
As each season changes, one thing stays the same. Airport Garden Center is always here to help your yard and garden grow. Airport Garden Center opened for business in 1977 as a pet, plant, and feed store by Eldora and Floyd Matthews. The family-run operation continues with Mark and Betsy Matthews passionately managing the business to this day. Their family provides your family quality service, products, and expert advice for a fun, rewarding, pet and child-friendly shopping atmosphere. We love helping you plan next season by offering monthly special savings too. Go to airportgarden.biz for current specials and seasonal classes and events, or just stop on by our spacious indoor-outdoor garden center on Edgewood Drive in Port Angeles to chat with the experts. Airport Garden Center, planting knowledge, growing gardeners since 1977.
Hi everyone, it's Chris Ruley from the Naval Elks Lodge, inviting you to get lost in the lodge. Our annual Roaring 20s celebration will take you on a journey through the lodge while indulging in delicious snacks.
When you get lost in the lodge, you'll be rewarded with an outstanding live entertainment lineup, including acrobats, underground boxing, live music from Super Nostalgic in the ballroom, Jimmy Hoffman in the lounge, and come find the hidden cowboy bar, other various theme bars, and a speakeasy.
This is a night you won't want to miss. Get lost in the lodge with the Naval Elks Anniversary Celebration. All for just $40.
Get your tickets now and celebrate the Naval Elks Lodge anniversary, Saturday, April 18th. Text tickets to 360-461-0426 or go to Events at the Elks on Facebook.
Building a future, sharing a dream, working together, we're on the same team.
At Straight View Credit Union, we know that buying a home is a big decision, and that's why we're committed to offering local decisions made by local decision makers. Our mortgage team is comprised of experienced professionals who are intimately familiar with the Clallam County housing market, ensuring that you get the personalized attention and expertise you deserve. We're here to help you navigate the home buying process and make the best decisions for your unique financial situation. Plus, as a member-owned cooperative, we prioritize the needs of our members and our local community over profits. That's why we're proud to offer great mortgage rates that help support our members' dreams of homeownership. Straight View Credit Union, your trusted local financial partner. Visit us online at svcu.com or stop by our branch on Lincoln Street in PA. Insured by NCUA Equal Housing Lender.
During the work and play sale at Swain's, you'll be able to jump feet first into spring projects in your men's, women's, and kids' bogs, all 20% off. Keep those boots clean with a Northwest boot scrubber for only $16.87. And feel confident you won't strain your back on that yard weeding with Grandpa's Weeder with its long wooden handle. No bending means no straining. It's only $39.87. Swain's work and play sale going on now.
America, past and present.
It's Wednesday, November 26, 2025. On this date in 1789, Americans observed the first National Thanksgiving Day, proclaimed by President George Washington. Following Congress's request, Washington set aside the day for gratitude and reflection, marking the first such observance under the new Constitution. Nearly 75 years later, Abraham Lincoln's 1863 proclamation made Thanksgiving an annual national tradition. It's also the birthday of Mary Edwards Walker, born in 1832, a Civil War surgeon and the only woman ever awarded the Medal of Honor. Her medal was rescinded in 1917, then rightfully restored 60 years later. And on this date in 1942, the world premiere of the film Casablanca took place in New York City, eventually becoming an enduring masterpiece of American cinema. And that is America past and present. I'm Randy Meyer.
I love a day on the water with friends, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis sometimes holds me back. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy.
Teaching music is my passion, but my active psoriatic arthritis can limit me at times. Now I'm treating my joint symptoms with Skyrizi.
With Skyrizi, most people with plaque psoriasis saw 90% clearer skin at 4 months.
Or if you are an adult with active psoriatic arthritis, Skyrizi helps you move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin.
There's nothing like better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
The North Peninsula's news, the North Peninsula's talk. News Radio KONP, Port Angeles Squim, a Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran holding, but the battle over the Strait of Hormuz is heating up. U.S. CENTCOM released the U.S. Navy's verbal warning to ships attempting to dock at Iranian ports.
Turn around and prepare to be boarded. If you do not comply with this blockade, we will use force. The whole of the United States Navy is ready to force compliance. Now,
Iran now vowing to block transit in the Red Sea if the U.S. blockade continues. President Trump expressing optimism that the war could end soon. A new Quinnipiac poll showing that the majority of Americans, 65%, blame President Trump for the rise in gas prices. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent at the White House today touted the higher-than-average tax refunds this year and also says the gas price hikes are temporary. Here's ABC's Stephen Portnoy.
Bessent described what he called short-term volatility for long-term gain. That is to say, it's in America's best interest, even if we're in this period of short-term pain. He also said the tax refunds will result in more money in Americans' pockets, and in his words, they can decide how they want to spend it. And if they have to spend it on higher prices at the pump, well, he says hopefully we'll see $3 gasoline soon enough.
A jury in Manhattan federal court finding Live Nation illegally monopolized the market for tickets. The jury determined Ticketmaster overcharged consumers by $1.72 per ticket. Here's ABC's Perry Russell.
The jury found that they represent an illegal monopoly, making it harder for other companies to compete in the marketplace. The jury found they had a harmful monopoly over big concert venues. Again, this affects Live Nation and Ticketmaster, the company's subsidiary. So the jury here in Manhattan was deliberating for 4 days.
The judge will decide how Live Nation should pay. For those who waited to file on this tax day, the deadline is midnight. If you need more time, file for an extension. You're listening to ABC News.
You know the feeling. It's 2 a.m. You're awake, running the numbers in your head. Payroll's coming. A client hasn't paid. Costs just went up. And you're thinking, how am I going to make this work? That's where LendSeek comes in.
That was me. I had payroll in 3 days and money tied up in receivables. I couldn't wait weeks for a bank. I went to LendSeek, and within minutes, I saw real funding options. They were clear, upfront, no games. By the next day, the money was in my account. Payroll went out. Crisis over.
LendSeek uses AI to match your business with the right funding, up to $5 million in as fast as 24 hours.
With LendSeek, it's not just funding, it's knowing you're covered when things get tight.
If you've been in business for at least 1 year with at least $500,000 annual revenue, apply today. No upfront costs, no prepaid penalties, because in business, waiting isn't an option. Start ready, stay ready with LendSeek. Apply at lendseek.com. That's LENDSEEK.com.
In the Bahamas, police are using U.S. Coast Guard cadaver dogs to aid in the search of Michigan resident Lynette Hooker. She's been missing now for more than a week. Her husband, Brian Hooker, told authorities she fell off their dinghy while they were returning to their boat. He was released without charges this week and told ABC News he planned to stay in the Bahamas, saying his sole focus is finding her. ABC's Victor Okendo is in the Bahamas with more.
Lynette's daughter and her mother, they have both had their questions from the beginning here. Daughter, Carly, she was the first to shed light on their rocky relationship, saying that, they would fight and drink a lot. Her mother, Darlene, said that they had a volatile relationship at times. There was also an incident in 2015 where they both accused each other of domestic assault.
Annual losses due to ransomware attacks are approaching $60 billion. It turns out many of those hackers are below the legal drinking age.
The case of education software company PowerSchool is a prime example. Matthew Lane, who was 18 at the time, hacked in and demanded millions in ransom in exchange for files on 60 million kids and 10 million teachers. It wasn't that he needed the money.
I was addicted to hacking.
Captured, tried, and convicted, Lane hopes to be a cautionary tale to other young hackers.
The skill set you have is a blessing. You should be using it not to take, but to give.
Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Powerball going international. The lottery will sell tickets in the UK starting this summer in an effort to grow jackpots even faster. Michelle Franzen, ABC.
KONP News brought to you by RE/MAX Evergreen Real Estate. Outstanding agents, outstanding results. 457-6600. A convicted drug dealer is headed to prison following a series of arrests in Clallam County. 37-year-old Sergei Kubai pleaded guilty to charges, including possession of a stolen firearm, fentanyl with intent to deliver, and DUI. He was sentenced under the state's drug offender program to up to 20 months in prison, followed by supervision. The case involved multiple arrests last December, including a crash where a stolen gun was found. Kubai now remains in custody and could face additional charges. A public safety town hall set for tomorrow night in Port Angeles. The forum runs Thursday, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the Fairview Grange. County Commissioner, the prosecutor, sheriff, and PA police chief will be there to talk with the public.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by All Weather Heating and Cooling. A frost advisory begins at 1 a.m. tomorrow morning and remains in effect until 9 a.m. tomorrow. Storms likely this afternoon, otherwise overcast skies. Highs level off around 47. Westerly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Mainly clear skies tonight, chance for rain, lows level off around 35. Ample sunshine expected tomorrow, highs level off around 52. A blend of clouds and sun Friday with daytime highs approaching 51. 56, chance of rain Saturday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, it's 46 degrees.
Normal is broke and common sense is weird. So we're here to help you transform your life. From the Ramsey Network in the Fairwinds Credit Union studio, this is The Ramsey Show. And I'm Rachel Cruz, hosting this hour with my good friend and co-host of Smart Money Happy Hour, George Camel. And we are answering your questions. So give us a call at 888-825-5225. All right, starting us off is Ann in Bend, Oregon. Hi, Ann.
Hi, I'm calling because I've been very blessed with my family and how much they support me. And so my dad and I have been building this house bit by bit, and we're hoping to have it finished by fall. But to do this, my parents have a HELOC on their house where we've been using it to kind of cash for the build. And so I'm at this point where, I went through the baby steps. I started $1,000, paid off the debts that I had, closed my credit cards, have a $23,000 6-month emergency fund.
Oh, good for you.
So now I'm sitting at this point where, as we're getting closer to finishing the build, my mom and I are trying to decide what is a better option. I've been paying on the HELOC as if I have a mortgage, right? But we're deciding if we should if I should refinance it and just have a mortgage. That way they don't have a HELOC, and they, and they're good on their plate. With their plate, right?
Right.
But refinancing means that I'm adding the cost of insurance, I'm adding closing costs, and all these other costs. And so we're trying to decide, is it worth it to do that at a benefit to save like 0.5% on the fixed rate versus the current adjustable rate that's on the HELOC right now?
Well, it's a great question. So how much did they take out in the HELOC that would become the mortgage for you?
It's sitting at about 130, 140,000 right now.
Okay, and that'll be the total mortgage for you, right? There's nothing else? Or is there
I
another
think
loan that you would?
The total is going to be about 155. We're finishing building the apartment, and so there's some stuff that I still have to buy.
Okay, gotcha.
To finish, walls and stuff like that.
And question, do your parents, are they going to own this home, or is this going to be yours?
No, it's under my name already.
Okay, so they're just helping pay. Okay. Well, I know what I would do, Ann, if I was in your case. George, I'd be curious if we're on the same team or not. But I would move it to a mortgage. First and foremost, for me, it's the relational aspect. I wouldn't want any level of risk from my parents from a financial aspect, considering it's equity in their permanent, their residence. And so separating it out. And I would push to say, if you can't afford the closing costs and all associated with getting a mortgage, then that makes me nervous to be like, okay, can you even afford this house, right? Is this too much? But you have a great emergency fund that you can maybe pull some from to kind of cash flow it. But I would do it out of more of the relational aspect of keeping this separate, and that, this is yours. This isn't theirs anymore. What would you say, George?
Okay. This is a gift that is wrapped in a liability, so it just feels icky, like I want to get out of it as soon as possible. So what was the balance on the HELOC remaining?
Currently it's 140, but I can't refinance until I have final occupancy.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
We're looking at a couple of months.
Okay. But have you actually looked into the math to see if you can afford this mortgage on your own?
Yes, I
Once it's refinanced? Okay. What is your take-home pay every month?
Take-home is $3,000, but I have a partner who has an additional $2,500.
And are they going to be paying into this as well? The mortgage?
Yeah, we're going to be getting married.
Okay, perfect. So together, it's so what it'll end up being what, probably $1,200 a month? Do you know what the payment will be?
I'm thinking it's going to be end up being probably about that, somewhere between $1,000 and $1,200.
Okay.
Currently, right now with the HELOC, I'm paying $860.
Okay, but it has the adjustable rate attached to it too.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I would contact
so,
our friends
yeah,
at Churchill Mortgage, Ann, and they can walk you through all the scenarios, the numbers, the refinance, and walk you through. Maybe there might be a third option we're not even thinking of that they can help you with. But I would just get out of this weird relational quagmire first and foremost before any of the math comes into play. Whether it's 0.5% or I'm going to pay closing costs, this is sort of the cost of salvaging this relationship before anything happens. You're sort of getting ahead of it because it is putting them at risk.
Yeah, and there's something so true about, when Scripture says the borrower is slave to the lender, there's something about when you owe money to someone and you're, having Thanksgiving dinner together. Like it just, there's just this money piece in the middle of it that is there.
You go on a honeymoon after you get married and they go, wow, look at that nice vacation they took while they owe us $140,000.
That they could have put toward the HELOC. Yeah. And even if it's all goodwill, there's still there's a new label on your parents, like whether you like it or not, that they are your bank, and so there's the separation of that. Like, let them just be your parents. Don't rope them in with all this. So, I mean, it's very generous of them. I probably wouldn't have even, we wouldn't suggest a HELOC to do this.
That's love.
But, like, it sounds like you guys have a great relationship. You've worked really well. But I would have my parents be my parents and not my lender. All right, let's go to, is it Parisa in Tampa? Did I say that correctly?
Yes, you did.
Oh, wonderful. Welcome to the show. How can we help?
Yeah, so my husband and I just paid off about $70,000 in debt.
Awesome.
In the past 7 months.
Amazing.
Thanks.
In
and
7
we
months?
Kind of know.
Is that what you said?
Yeah, 7 months.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Did y'all sell something, or how did you get the $7K per month?
He has a good job in finance. He does mortgages.
Oh, good. Okay. Good for you guys. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
So all thanks to him. And so we kind of want to know when we can go on vacation. We haven't been since we've been together for 4 years.
Okay.
How much more debt do you have?
We have 2 cars, but other than that, that's
how much is it?
About it. Together, probably about 70.
Okay. So another 7 months. Then yeah, you would get the green light from us. Ideally, you would have some money saved in an emergency fund before you do the vacation. So it may be 1 more year for you all. If you're doing the Ramsey plan, that's what we would recommend. No vacations or anything while on baby step 2 while you're paying off debt. Everything goes to get out of debt.
Okay, including the cars. Okay.
Yep, including the cars, everything but the house. And then ideally, again, having some emergency fund. We say 3 to 6 months, but that 3 month, but what you guys may be able to do in, I don't know.
Yeah, if you're saving, if you can sock away $10,000 a month, once all of those payments are gone, even the car payments, you'll save that emergency fund a couple of months max.
Yeah. So I would plan for next summer.
It's a 2027 trip. Make it a big one.
Go in May.
Okay.
What's your household income?
Well, I mean, it's obviously varies because it's sales, but before taxes, like 25 to 30K a month.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Yep, that's great.
Making a couple $100,000, you can go on a real nice trip, and so use that. Dangle this carrot of debt freedom.
How do we know what's the budget for that?
I mean, if you pay cash, you're not spending $50,000, and you got other financial goals. So let's make it reasonable. But also, you guys make $360,000. It's okay to go on a trip that costs $5,000 or $10,000.
Yeah. Oh, easily. Yeah, for sure. Just save up and pay cash for it, and it's kind of the mentality of if you put that money, on a table and burned it, and it was just all gone, like, would it emotionally affect you? And with your income, you guys would be able to save that quickly, and it shouldn't overly affect you to go on a nice vacation. At Ramsey, we don't partner with companies chasing trends or pushing gimmicks. Trust is earned. And that's why we send people to Fairwinds Credit Union. They've been serving members for 75 years. And you don't last that long by cutting corners. You last by serving people well. And there's a reason their name is on this studio wall. Fairwinds matches our values. They've built products to help you manage money intentionally, not pull you into debt. If you're looking for a practical way to stay organized with your money the Ramsey way, check out Fairwinds Smart Bundle. It pairs a high-yield savings account for your emergency fund with a checking account that doesn't drain your balance. You can even open multiple free savings accounts to stay intentional while you're saving. Open your Fairwinds Smart Bundle today at fairwinds.org/Ramsey and get the Ramsey Be Weird debit card. That's fairwinds.org/Ramsey.
Insured by the NCUA.
Dave Ramsey here. Most people stay stuck with their money because they're not paying attention to it. Most people are living paycheck to paycheck, stressed out, and broke. Don't be most people. Start paying attention. Start giving every dollar a job to do, because you work too hard to be broke and feel broke. Way too hard. And you deserve to have something to show for your hard work. That's why we built the Every Dollar Budget app. It gives you a personalized plan for your money. One that shows you how to free up extra cash every month and then use it to pay off debt and build lasting wealth. With every dollar, you get real coaches walking you through the plan step by step, showing you what it takes to transform your money and your family tree. See, most people hearing this are going to stay stuck. Most people will just keep hoping something changes. But remember, you're not most people. You are ready to change your money for good. So get to it. Download Every Dollar in the App Store or Google Play and start for free today.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jade. So let's be real. Are you good with the way your money is right now? If the answer is absolutely not, I know where you're at. I had $500,000 in debt, guys. I was about to come unglued. But I'm proof that you can change your story. And don't come at me with this, oh, but Jade, I can't do it nonsense. I want you to make progress, not excuses. So if you want to see some real progress with your money, go start Financial Peace University. The principles we teach in this 9-week course changed my life. You're going to learn how to get out of debt, how to build wealth, and when you do what we teach, in just 90 days, you will feel so much better about your money. And I know, because the average FPU grad has an $8,000 turnaround in those 90 days. $8,000? Come on, somebody. Y'all better get this money. It's time to get moving. Don't live with money stress anymore. Start FPU today at RamseySolutions.com/FPU.